The silence below. The endless expanse of ice stretches out as far as the eye can see, a deceptive beauty masking an unforgiving cold. The constant howl of the wind fills the air, carrying with it an underlying sense of dread. A massive helicopter descends into this desolate world, kicking up a swirling storm of snow as it touches down at a run-down steel-clad research station. This is Hawthorne Station, forgotten by time and the rest of the world, Antarctica's isolated edge. The research team emerges, hauling supplies bundled in thick parkas. They're a collection of experts, scientists, engineers, and technicians, all with a singular mission: to investigate the unexplained seismic activity reported deep beneath the ice. The leader, Dr. Elena Harper, a brilliant but emotionally scarred physicist, looks out at the stark white landscape with a mix of wonder and unease. Next to her stands Dr. Ryan Munro, the geologist with a skeptical mind and a sharp tongue. The sun dips low. In Antarctica, daylight is fleeting, and the looming months of darkness promise to test more than their scientific resolve. Days pass. The station is cold, cramped, and eerily silent save for the hum of machinery. The team works diligently, setting up equipment and gathering data. Yet the seismic readings baffle them, irregular, almost rhythmic in nature, as if something is pulsating beneath the ice. A field survey leads them to a chasm, a crack in the ice stretching miles wide and impossibly deep. The wind rushing through its abyss sings a haunting, mournful melody. They stare in fascination and unease. No maps or satellite imaging had ever recorded this fissure. It simply shouldn't exist. Maybe it's just tectonic movement, Ryan proposes, though his voice wavers. Dr. Harper kneels near the edge, feeling something, a faint vibration through the ice, alive, almost sentient. No one says it aloud, but the air feels heavier, colder, as if the chasm is watching them. The team increases their focus on studying the chasm, placing seismic sensors and lowering equipment into its depths, but the deeper they dive, the stranger things become. At night, the vibrations intensify, accompanied by an otherworldly hum. It seeps into their sleeping quarters, into their bones. Some describe it as music, others a low whisper. None can escape it. Within days, sleep becomes a distant memory. Team members begin experiencing disturbing dreams, their content eerily similar. Endless voids, incomprehensible shapes, whispers in a language that feels both alien and intimate. Tensions rise. What started as minor irritation grows into explosive arguments. Dr. Harper notices the changes in her colleagues, their hollowed eyes, their frayed tempers, and quietly wonders how much of it is happening to her, too. A lingering headache, an inexplicable fear she can't shake. At night, she hears faint cries drifting from the chasm, too human to ignore but impossible to explain. Determined to push through, the team probes deeper into the ice. One icy morning, the youngest team member, Nate, finds something embedded in the snow not far from the chasm. Tattered journal pages preserved by the frost. The handwriting is old, shaky, written by a 19th-century explorer. The pages tell of an expedition that ventured into this uncharted region long before modern technology. The descriptions are horrifying. A discovery of unnatural marks carved into the ice and a persistent, sanity-eroding sound that drove men to madness. These explorers never left. Their screams, it is written, were consumed by the wind. Their first reaction is disbelief. Yet, as the vibrations grow stronger and the hum begins infiltrating their recordings, even the skeptics start seeing patterns where they shouldn't. Carvings in the ice walls, etched symbols that defy logic or known human history. Harper's fear deepens as a chilling truth sinks in. This chasm predates humanity. "It's not just ice down there," Harper declares to the team one evening, her voice shaking. They argue over what to do. Ryan insists they focus on data and leave the myths for another day. Harper, however, feels consumed by a need to know what lies beneath. That need becomes obsession. A daring plan is hatched. One team member will descend into the pit to document its depths. It's Nate, driven by equal parts curiosity and naive bravery, who volunteers. He straps into a harness, tethered to the surface by a thin rope. The others lower him in, their breaths fogging in the biting cold as they listen to his voice through a radio. The deeper Nate goes, the more distorted the sound becomes. Static, bursts of unintelligible words, and then vibrations, more powerful and consuming than they had ever imagined. His breath quickens. "There's something down here," he whispers, voice trembling. And then, silence. The rope jerks violently and they pull it up as fast as possible. Empty. Nate is gone. The loss of Nate shatters the already fragile team. Now outright paranoia takes hold. Shadows stretch longer. The hum grows louder. The chasm feels closer, as though it's creeping toward the station. Harper finds herself unable to trust her own senses, let alone her colleagues. Supplies mysteriously go missing. Some claim to see figures walking across the icy plains, but no footprints are ever found. The journal's warnings feel prophetic. Fear feeds it. Harper pieces together a horrifying theory. The vibrations, the sounds, the patterns, they aren't just random. The chasm, or whatever lies beneath, feeds on human emotion, drawing power from their fear, until it can awaken fully. Ryan dismisses Harper's theory as hysteria, but his composure quickly evaporates. He begins pacing at night, muttering to himself about shapes he swears he's seen in the ice. One morning, they find him standing at the edge of the chasm, murmuring. He doesn't respond when called. His body plunges silently into the abyss. The others reel in horror, but Harper is frozen. She feels it. A pulsation more powerful than ever, radiating from the chasm, alive and triumphant. They are falling apart, just as the journal foretold. Desperate to stop what feels inevitable, Harper dives into research. Ancient carvings, seismic patterns, data collected over weeks. It all aligns. The being beneath isn't just waking up, it's preparing to rise. The chasm is no longer just a chasm. It's throbbing now, pulsing with an energy that shakes the entire station. Supplies crash to the floor. Walls groan under pressure. The generator fails, plunging the station into a suffocating darkness. The hum is deafening. In the pitch black, Harper and the few remaining survivors gather what little equipment they can and face the terrible question, do they run or do they fight? Harper demands they descend with explosives. "We have to destroy it, even if it takes us with it," she screams. But not everyone agrees. 2 members flee into the darkness of the Antarctic night, their silhouettes vanishing near the horizon. Harper and the last faithful member strap in, lowering themselves into the hungry maw of the pit. The descent feels endless. The air becomes oppressively warm, stinking of decay, and the vibrations rattle their bones. They reach a cavern where it reveals itself. A colossal form, alien and ancient, encased in layers of ice so thin it's cracking. It stirs. The being is incomprehensibly vast, with shapes that seem to shift when looked upon. Eyes, or what could be eyes, flicker open, and the hum becomes deafening, a voice resonating within their very minds. It isn't angry or malevolent. It's hungry. Harper realizes the truth. This isn't something they can stop. It's not something human minds were ever meant to face. But maybe they can slow it down. Harper sets the explosives as her companion begins slipping into madness, clawing at the ice. "Go!" she shouts, cutting the rope tethering herself. The companion hesitates, but finally ascends, leaving Harper alone. She stares into the shifting, horrifying abyss. The being gazes back, and as she presses the detonator, she hears it whisper a name, her name. The explosion is muted, muffled by the heavy ice, sending tremors through the landscape. The chasm collapses, consuming itself, its song falling silent. Hours later, rescue helicopters arrive to find the station in ruins, the survivors too shaken to explain. Far away in the depths of the ruins, the being still slumbers, fractured, slowed, but not destroyed. Its hum persists, faint and distant, but never truly gone. The final shot lingers on the icy wasteland. In the silence, one could almost swear they hear a pulse.